what I love are callbacks, digital callbacks that we do right now. I mean, we can connect with people from all over the world. Yay. We're not limited. I think this is so cool. We're not limited in the market. So we work with American production companies. We work with Eastern European production companies. We work with directors from all over the planet. And we have talents from it. And that is amazing.
Hello, bold ones. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I have Karolina Matheis, who runs Matheis Casting Agency based in Berlin. This is one of Germany's biggest commercial agencies. They also do some film and television. So I'm super excited to have Karolina on today. Karolina, welcome to Actable. Thank you so much for taking time out of your vacation to come and be with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Before we did the podcast today, we spoke on the phone, and I just felt immediately that it was very easy to talk to you. You have a huge knowledge about what you talk about and
Thank you.
questions. So it was a no-brainer that I would be here.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, Karolina, so just a little bit of back history about you from your own mouth to the listeners. How did you get into casting? And then we'll sort of move on to sort of how you went into the direction of casting, because I love the advertising and commercials and things that you've done. They're just so much fun. So tell me a little bit about that.
So how I started? Well, actually, my first steps were in the music industry. I used to work at Rolling Stone magazine.
In Germany? Or
in Germany, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to work in the music industry, but then I figured out, this is, I was on the road with Coldplay and other huge international artists, and that was not the lifestyle that I wanted for myself. And then I actually studied marketing and then acting, dancing, and singing, so performing arts. And I had my daughter then very young, so it was nothing that I would have wanted for myself to live on the road as well, or in theaters and moving all the time. So I was thinking, okay, what could I do? And then I applied because I had good marketing knowledge or everything that has to do with business, and I had the knowledge from my own experiences as an artist. So the question was for me, okay, do I want to be an agent or a casting director? And then I let life decide. I was working with a casting director back then. And I decided that I want to do things differently. And this is what I did. I had my daughter very young, around about a year old. And then I decided, okay, I'll start my own business as a very young mother.
Yeah, I think it's so important for young moms to have more control over what they're doing, especially in these kind of creative industries. We can, because of the being bounced around for tours and things like that. So it was probably a great decision for you and your family to do that. So you started working on your own. That had to be interesting, sort of venturing off onto your own. But I'm sure you had also some very interesting connections. And now I'm also, some of the campaigns that you've done are maybe making more sense. I know you've done a campaign with Robbie. Oh God, I'm forgetting his last name. Robbie.
We did a campaign
thank
with
you.
Williams,
Alzheimer's.
Martin Scorsese.
Mariah Carey.
So yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Is that just coincidence, or did that actually come from your time working in the music industry as well?
No, that's total coincidence. These things come to me. So when I started out, the network I had within the music industry was not a network that was really helpful or would open doors for me or anything. It was actually the absolute opposite. So when I started out, because I was working for another casting agent or a casting director, I promised myself I would not go to her clients. That was morally so important for me. So I started out not knowing anyone and just believing in myself and thinking, I got this. So, but to come
That's
back to
amazing. I'm sure that wasn't easy.
let's get back.
Yeah.
So you were asking me if it wasn't easy. For sure was not easy, yet my mindset was like, I wanted to do something cool. I wanted to work with the people I like. So I hired my friends. So I hung out with them all day. And then, yeah, for sure, I got lucky in the sense of I met the right people. I had a mentor who supported me, who I met accidentally. He's an amazing director. He lives in LA now. Jürgen, if you see that, shout out to you. And he supported me, but until I met him, it was tough. But I didn't feel it as tough because I was surrounded by the people I loved, and we are like every day was fun. But I was for sure sitting until 4 o'clock in the morning in the office. So I had my toothbrush in the office, and then like when I actually started out at that in my bedroom. So this is where I started out. Then I had a photo studio with 2 photographers, which didn't end well. That was a huge bummer for me. So the first years were very bumpy. Yet I always believed that I attract cool people. Like, because
if your projects are any indication, for sure.
No, look, the moment you love art and you understand an artist, you understand a director, and production itself as a process, as a creative process, I think you're very open, and you can, if you're professional, you can as well like have a very playful attitude. And this always happened to me. And this is how I went into those situations. And I believe that's why I met the people I met who just resonated in my way of approaching this work.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think that tracks back to actors as well. You know, so many actors are so caught up in trying to do it right, have the right look, like presenting themselves correctly. And if they would just kind of let go and be themselves, they would resonate with specific people, and maybe not to others, but that's better. You know, you're attracting what is good, and people are seeing what's great about you if you can be yourself. And maybe you're repelling other people, but that's making your job easier as well, because you're not having to wade through it. And I mean, I think especially now with AI and all, I really think that the more people kind of lean into their quirkiness, into their uniqueness, into their, you know, I always call it your superpower. Whatever you think is your flaw, that's your superpower. So just lean into it. The more the people do that, the better off they're going to be, because the machines can't compete against that.
Yeah, well, you know, I think there are certain things that you can control. Because you said in the beginning that, like, you know, some actors, they're like, you said you would wish that they would let go a little bit more, if I understood that right. So I believe that there are certain things that actors can control, and I would recommend, like, yeah, every actor to do that.
Like what? What do you think is within an actor's control?
I believe that's a big field. Look, being an actor is actually the same thing as having your own company.
Mm-hmm.
You need to figure out what, as you call it, your superpower is. This is what I had to do when I started my company. You need to be aware really of, like, what am I good at and what am I not good at? There are many things that I'm not like this changed over the years, but when I started, I did not know how this worked. But I was eager to learn it, and it gave me joy. So then the appearance, like if I receive a self-tape casting, the photos that I see, the photos you upload, like the room where you record the self-tape casting and so on. The moment you stand in front of the camera, is there a spark? Do you bring something positive, or can I feel that you're actually tired and annoyed? And again, like I understand that because, we have a life. But if we go into a situation where we have to apply for, let's say, a more traditional job, we would take care of our appearance or be aware of our appearance in the sense of, like we would wear something nice or something that is suitable to the occasion or location or the person you're talking to. We will be prepared. Of course, I understand that this occurs to actors more often because there might be like 3 or 4 self-tape castings. Yet I have to say it's part of the job.
Yeah.
Which
I think what you're getting at is people are sometimes maybe... What's that?
Which as well means that there are more opportunities.
Yes, for sure.
So,
but I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So I think what you're getting at, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that sometimes the actors are showing up and they're not looking the part. So if the part calls for a young professional, maybe their hair is messy, they look like they just woke up, and they're wearing their workout clothes. And this is not necessarily reflective of a young professional. Nobody's expecting them to have their hair done and their makeup done and buy a wardrobe, but wear things that are suggestive, like clean your face like you would for the first day on a new job, right?
Well, even a nice makeup, so that you don't I don't know, it's in English,
shine or
don't shine, something like that.
Yeah.
I would always, this is only my personal point of view, and this is how I would try to control the things that I could control. I would always want to step in front of the camera in the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Because this is the moment I can sell myself. I can be seen. People can get an idea of my look, my character, my talent. This is a window that is so amazing. And, it's easy to talk for me, but this is because I don't have to do it every day. I made a different choice in my life. There was the time when I was thinking, okay, do I want to be an actress? And I decided, no, I don't want to be, because I saw my talents, my potential somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a conscious decision. And then the other things that actors cannot control, are they the type that is, I don't know, the director is looking for, or if you have a situation you have a constellation, let's say mother, father, and kid, then you go for certain types. This is not in their hand, and this is the part when you can just lean back and say, yet I understand that it might be frustrating every now and then, and at the same time, I believe those aspects of frustration we all have in our life. And the question is, how do we deal with them? Mm-hmm. I can control what comes to me. The only thing that I can do is I can control how I approach the things that come to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How you react to them, how you accept them, how you accept the challenge.
Exactly.
Put it that way. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that as well. But that was a long time coming for me. It's hard, I think, especially when you're starting out, everybody says that it's some things are out of your hands. Some things, just do the best you can do and let it go. But I think that that's a skill, learning to let it go, learning to just show up for the casting and have fun, do the best you can do on that day, do it for, 3 to 5 times and then let it go. Because it's not going to get better after that if you've done the preparation, unless you get input. If you get input, then it can definitely get better. But if you're at home and you don't have anyone helping you, I see you want to say something. Say it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you always think about how will be the outcome of something, then you're not in the present moment. And I think one of the greatest gifts a good actor has is he is in the present moment. So you're taking away your own skill. If you're always thinking like, okay, will this work? Am I presenting myself right? And then there's something else, and this is probably something very psychological. Everyone who starts out as an actor knows. I'm sorry. Everyone who starts out as an actor knows that there is the chance that things will not work. Not everyone will have a huge career. Not everyone will win awards. So the moment you go into this field, in order to minimize the chances that things might not work out, you need to know the market extremely well. And not only, and this is a recommendation from me, not only understand yourself as I'm an artist. You're not only an artist. You need to know how to navigate within a market. Very professional.
Yeah. This is what I always harp on.
Because when I started out, I had a very good understanding and intuition about who fits for what. Like I can read people very easily. But I needed to learn, in order to become a good casting director, I needed to learn a lot of other skills, especially how to navigate in the market. And I believe that if an actor is highly talented, this does not always mean that this is enough in order to be successful. It might be.
Yeah.
If you meet the right people.
If you get lucky.
Yeah, but then you gamble with life,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I totally agree. I really think that this is one of probably the biggest thing blocking actors from achieving, I'm not saying mega success, because there are many ways to make a living as an actor. And then if you combine those, whether you're doing voice work and commercial work and presenting work and industrial films, and then maybe you get a small recurring role or whatever, but that's enough to pay the bills. And it's okay. It's enough to live as an actor, but it's reframing what you're willing to accept. Because first of all, I hear a lot of actors say that I don't want to do commercials. And I always think, are you out of your mind? First of all, so many great directors go on to do feature films and television series that started out in commercials, and vice versa. So many great directors that are already doing feature films and commercial and TV series come back and do commercials because, first of all, the budgets, comparatively speaking, are so much better. The budget, in one day of a commercial is you could shoot a feature film, an indie film on that. And the production quality is so high, and it's like every second counts. So it's not just every minute counts, every second, every fraction of a second counts. And they're making it count. And I think that doing a commercial is like a master class on saying more with less and doing more with less in a lot of ways, as far as the actor has to go, right? Because it's with a look. It's with especially on this kind of stuff that you do that are just fun. You do so many fun and quirky things. I would love to work on that.
May I say something?
Of course.
Because when you started to speak, I had a thought. For me, there is a huge difference, and I don't know if I put it right in English. Look, on the one hand, the calling can serve you, or you serve the calling. And let's assume the calling is, I want to be an actor. I want to give my talent. I want to show people something. I want to entertain people. And as well there, let's go a step back, because I had a conversation the other day with a young woman, and she's like, you're a casting director. I want to become an actress. And then I asked her why. And then she told me, yeah, because it gives me this, and I have the chance to be in all those roles. Da, 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 da. And from my very personal point of view, this is the wrong approach, because acting is not a substitute for therapy.
Yeah.
So I believe if you want to give something as an artist, if you want to move people, remind them of certain situations in their life, inspire them, this is the way it is, like the right path for me. And then if you say, okay, and this is my calling, you need to make a decision. Will the calling serve me in terms of, and this is what you said, will I be able, it needs to put me in a situation where I can pay my bills, I can buy my groceries, I, pay for electricity, go on holidays. So, or am I serving the calling in a sense of, yeah, I will not do the commercial stuff, even if it's paid a lot, but I will do the short film where I will not get paid. And I'm talking in extremes right now. I know that there's like a gray between, but just in order to make people understand, that's why I'm pointing out those extreme examples. But I will do the short film that pays me nothing, because there I can go into the depths of my emotions. And so I don't think any of those decisions is wrong. I'm just saying actors, or in every profession, I have to ask the same question myself. Is the calling serving me, or am I am I serving the calling? And I believe that because you spoke about actors who are not into doing commercials. And again, this is a very private or personal decision. I believe as well, you learn a lot on set of a commercial production. A lot. And there are enough directors who, as you say, do commercials on the side, and then they have the project. What I think as a recommendation is important is not to be someone who is only stuck in commercials. But I know actors who, Mark Risman, for example, is a great example. He's a very dear friend of mine. He is a great actor. He's working now internationally. He was working in Germany. He came to the commercial castings. Then he even started out as a commercial director.
Mm.
And now he's working internationally with Sam Elliott, Forrest Whitaker. He changed markets. That's another story. But this is a good example of, hey, I want to get to know the market. What is there? What opportunities are there?
Yeah.
And this is the moment where you bring yourself in a situation to choose, how is the calling, how can we make it happen that the calling is serving me? What bits and pieces do I actually like? Hey, maybe I want to become a writer. Okay, right now, not the best situation.
Not for actors either.
Or maybe
Right.
I want to become a director. Or maybe, you know what? I want to work in a production company. If you have the urge to, if it's not about the ego, I think there are so many positions in the market that are highly interesting, and then give you the chance to do what in the sense of, hey, I wanted to move people, I wanted to inspire people, and then you will be a part of this production, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. There are a couple of things that I want to address there. One was, I totally agree. I also think that obviously there has to be some combination. It's not 100% I want to serve my calling, and it's not 100% my calling should serve me. There's some sort of a combination in there because I have to live off of it. So it has to serve me to a certain extent so that I can survive. That's one. But I think that if you are going about it for the love of it, for the love of connection, for the love of trying to reflect that human condition back to someone so they don't feel so alone, I think that that's much more, that is a reason that can sustain you much better than saying, I want to be famous, or whatever, I want to drive a fancy car. Or I read a post yesterday on Reddit from a 15-year-old girl whose big dream is to become an actress. And she's, in it, she said, so that, she wants to start as soon as possible so she can generate generational wealth. And I'm like, oh, honey, oh, sweetie pie, let me tell you. But, and what would be the quickest route to becoming a star? Literally her words.
Yeah, but those are like, it's I call it bullshit bingo. Like, people pick words. Oh yeah, generational wealth is like a new thing. And then, I don't know. And then they put these things together in a sentence without even thinking it through or having the knowledge of what does it actually mean. But then again, fair enough, she's 15. She's like, she allows that people see her on this platform, and probably some of them give her a hard time.
Yes. Actually, people were pretty nice to her, but maybe because she's 15. So who knows? The post is new, so I guess I can check back and tell you later if she's been eviscerated.
I find this very interesting. In a way, very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. It was so naive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah, and I think that, like, for me, whenever I'm coaching someone or something, I always ask, like, what is your why? Which I think is kind of like what you're getting to. Like, is it to serve you? Is it to serve someone else? And we can have more than one why. I'm not saying you have to narrow it down to one thing, but the why should be bigger than you are so that it can hold you up, so that it can sustain you when when you're sort of getting beaten down, as we do occasionally, And another one of my whys is my son. I want to try and show my son that you should follow your dreams and do what well, as I always actually used to say to him, yes, follow your dreams. I follow my dreams. But more importantly, my advice to my son is follow your curiosity. And this goes to what you were saying about trying out different things. And I think that that's so true as an actor as well. Especially, we learned during Corona that we're capable of so much more than just standing in front of the camera. We can stand behind it. We can change hats, be our own director, be our own producer, our own cinematographer, all of that stuff. And all of that can lead to new opportunities and new outlets for creativity, and maybe even new outlets to sustain you that you have control over, because editors are fewer and far between more few and far between than actors are. So maybe you could make a living as an actor, but that's a living that offers you flexibility. So I think it's important, no matter what you're doing, to be following your curiosity. Because curiosity, you're going to keep your interest.
I have a kid too. My daughter is 18. And I told her that from my personal perspective, the most important thing is that she figures out what her creative source is. inside of her. And look, when we talk about actors, and we talk probably in a very traditional view on the market, right? If you look at the States, the actors understand that it's quite tricky if they wait for the chance that the right book comes to them.
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, you know what? I learned how to produce. I learned how to direct. I will collaborate with people, even if I don't know how to direct. I will collaborate with the director. I will work as a producer. I work on set and so on. And to bring themselves in a situation where they have the biggest amount of freedom within the market. And through social media, we have this is insane what a chance this is. I spoke to a friend of mine who wants to do stand-up comedy. And I said, okay, sure, I can support you if you want to be on stages, we can figure something out. So, yet, why don't you use social media as your stage and figure out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, for example. If someone has the idea of, it should be entertainment and comedic entertainment, then, for example, I think this is amazing. So the stages have changed. This is what I mean by that. And at the same time, the jobs, or the hierarchy, in a sense, you don't have to wait as an actor to be discovered. If you find a story that is very interesting and you find other people who you can put in awe with the story, producers, director, whatever, then I think you can, how do I put this? Tap every day in this curiosity that you speak about, and probably figure out as well what the creating or creative source within you actually is.
Yeah. 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 That's also a big part of what I believe in. I think you have to find your people, and your people are there to collaborate with you, to inspire you, to give you new perspective, even in something as simple as my show reel or my headshots. If I shoot some new headshots, because it's so important to get the outside perspective. I know how I would like to be seen, but how I would like to be seen may not always jive with reality, and it also, the things that I feel like are my strongest essences, although I'm 57, so I feel like I have a pretty good grip on who I am and what I am and all.
Not 57.
I am. I just turned 57.
Girl, you look so fine. And I don't mean, all the women out there, I don't mean that if you hit a certain age, you don't look fine or anything. And I don't mean that, looking young is what our goal should be, but you just look amazing. And
oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's
avoid the sun, young ladies.
And I think it's a certain kind of vibrance and energy. You have a very young energy, so I like that.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
I can keep the young energy until I I don't know, come to the age of my parents, for example. Then I think I did
and beyond. Do you know who's that one older woman, very old woman? Applebaum is her name, and she's always wearing these great. You know what I'm talking about?
Where's Apple?
Yes, yeah, she's amazing. That's like an old woman with a young spirit. I always say I'm not getting older. I'm just living longer.
I like that.
I plan to live a very long time.
I like that. And you know what? This is a misconception in our society as well, from my point of view. How lucky we are to live. Every morning I wake up, I think damn, I won the lottery. Because there are some people who will not wake up. And this is it. So I think this is super cool.
Oh, God, yes.
Need to get older, even though I know, you have to adapt to things are changing. And this is, as an actress or an actor as well, a thing. Like, yeah. How was it for you?
How is it for me as an actor? At the moment, very slow. But I think I might be more affected here in Europe by the strike than maybe other European actors are, just because, I also do a lot of co-productions and things like that around Europe. So, but still, I say it's slow. I just shot up a concept trailer for a feature film that we're shooting in November. I just shot an amazing student film that I loved being a part of. I did a commercial campaign for Mnet. So, I mean, I'm still working, but I had a really, 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 really close call with a film that I cannot mention, where I had an amazing callback. I was in the room with the director for an hour and a half. So I know he must have liked me, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I count those as wins too, which kind of goes to what you were saying with like, be happy that you woke up today. Because I think that so many actors only count the wins as something like, I booked this job. But I think that we can be more generous to ourselves and say, if I had a callback, or if I got some good feedback, or if I made a good connection, or if there was someone I was chasing, like I was chasing you forever to come and interview with me, and I finally got you to agree to do it. These are things they're wins for me. And these are things that I can feel grateful for, so that I'm not just going, oh, my life sucks. Everybody gets cast but me, and whatever, why'd she get that and I didn't get it? And, I definitely try and stay away from that kind of toxic thinking, and to go into, or to stay within, like, I'm happy for what I have. I am grateful for what I have. I'm grateful on so many levels, and yes, of course I want more, but I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be grateful and want more. That's kind of the paradox of life.
I think if the success of an actor defines your overall happiness, this is the moment where I'm thinking, how will I put it? This is the moment where I would encourage an actor to dive in two things. The mindset that you just said. Like, am I appreciating all the other great things that are happening in my life? And B, to ask them, okay, is this really what I want? Because then you put yourself in a constant state of being unhappy. And as a third aspect, I would encourage them to say, okay, are there other jobs in the market that might be it? Like, for example, I was now for 2 years working with the Film Academy in Ludwigsburg. Things like that. Or, I don't know, doing workshops with other, there are so many possibilities. Like, I'm trying to say, it's not only one job. And for me as well, like, my job has, like, all of a sudden I am in juries of, like, festivals, and there are, like, so many things that I can do apart from only this. And I would probably be a good director. I would probably be a good producer. Not that I, like, want to go into this, but at the end of the day, actually, it all has so much to do with each other. Like, I can only be a good casting director if I understand how production works, and in detail, like political situations within a production, practical, like how the strategy is, the vision, and so on. Yeah, and goes for the actor as well. And
well, let's talk about commercial auditions for a minute, because that's like a huge part of what you do, obviously. What makes you First of all, are there any auditions that really stand out in your mind that really just come to mind when I say tell me about a really great audition you saw?
There are so many great auditions where you like sit, watch, and just your jaw drops because they're just. I had like a job just a couple of weeks ago. So you have to know that I would say 80 to 90% of the projects that we're doing Europe-wide. So it's not only within Germany. And we're looking for it was a social, and we were looking for a young actor around 19 to 22 with a big, that's a tricky word for me, vulnerability.
Vulnerability? Yeah. Yeah.
And he needed to have like real good acting skills. So the director was from Canada. The producer has a very worldwide, open-minded, like approach to how she works. So I said, hey, I would recommend to do a casting in the UK. So this is what we did. And those young guys, age 19, that was just outstanding.
Yeah.
We had a callback with the director, and in between, I was like, he and I were looking at each other. We were like, what was that? This is outstanding. They just, at the age of 19, are so extremely talented, so on point, technically, so good. And that was amazing. And then other things, one of the funniest, I guess, I received was a girl who was at a festival, and the scene was something with a secretary, I don't know. So in front of her tent, she put up her camping table, and then she played the scene, and you would see the people passing by, on the festival. But she was like very much into the scene, and actually we cast in her. It was just so sweet. Or other people who like really send you like your own little version of the spot of the final commercial. And this is where you can see, okay, cool, they have such talent. And even though they might not be casted for this job, the director and us, we will keep this in mind.
Yeah.
And we often have a conversation with directors where we're like, before we start the job, I'm like, okay, do you have someone in mind who you want to. It's the same procedure as with TV productions. And so you ask the director if he has anyone in mind. And then he will say, okay, you know what? You remember this guy who we had in this commercial? Okay, let's bring him in and so on. Sure. What I love are callbacks, digital callbacks that we do right now. I mean, we can connect with people from all over the world. Yay. We're not limited. I think this is so cool. We're not limited in the market. So we work with American production companies. We work with Eastern European production companies. We work with directors from all over the planet. And we have talents from it. And that is amazing.
I want to ask too, because I hear this more and more from casting directors. The one casting that really stood out to you was when the girl went and sat at the festival and shot her self-tape there. And I hear that more and more that, the standard, my whole studio setup is on the other side of this room now. The standard gray background or blue background or green, whatever you want to use. But the standard neutral wall with no distractions is not necessarily the thing anymore.
I wouldn't call it the thing. I would say it's not necessary. But it's not like, oh, we have a new trend, people should do it outside. This is not okay. So, and it was, of course, her attitude the way she did it, because she did not give, like, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
And that brings a kind of comedy and joyfulness. So, but to come back to your question, I don't care where you do um,
The self-tape.
I don't care. As long, and this is what I have to say. Okay, what I just told you now, that was funny. But if it's loud or I don't know, we've seen many apartments in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, if you do it inside, then just try to do it in a calm environment.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the tricky thing is, right? Because I love the idea. Like I just had an audition for a woman my age who is trying to act much younger and, you know, is in the middle of her workout class talking to her followers during the workout class, which I think is hysterical. And it would have been hysterical had I like barged into someone's gym and done that. But of course, yeah, that puts a ton of pressure on me to also find a location and to find people who are willing to do it with me or let me do it, you know, while their thing is going on. And yeah, it's obviously an added, I could see where that would definitely contribute to a great self-tape, but it also puts a lot of extra pressure. The other thing though is, I think, you know, partially because I've shot short films, I write, I produce, I do all of that. And I think that helps me to understand how to keep the subject in the foreground as opposed to letting things get too messy and too distracted, you know, and that also can be very tricky. Like to say, like, I'm going to go shoot this at a fairground because this is where the commercial will take place, is at a fairground or the movie or the film or, you know, the TV series, whatever it is. But then to do it in such a way so that you remain the main focus. Because you don't want somebody else going, oh, cotton candy, look, right? A lot of cotton candy.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that the most important thing is how you act. And look, this example with the festival, it shows that this is the main priority. It was funny, of course, but the way she did it, she was so dedicated to what she did, like to the scene. And that was actually the pretty impressive part. And you can do a scene in the car. I don't care. If this is the only time frame that you had, or like, because you were like, let's say in a production or between, I don't know, playing theater or whatsoever, and the only possibility you had with like natural light is to sit in a car, then that's it. That's
Absolutely.
because you use your chin. Yet, like, I would encourage everyone not to look too tired. And I think to upload certain photos where you look good is important too, because this is the first thing that we see. So we have an interface, and the first thing that we see are photos. And then, you know, the director looks and says, clicks through them, but this is like like the shopping window in a mall.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the best example, but in a way it is. So, and sometimes what I do is if I see horrible pictures, I Google them. And then I find, on Instagram, for example, or any other social media platforms, the pictures that they take and post there and just like quickly, you know, they did a selfie are like way better than the photos that I received. And then I think like, man, come on. So I don't care if you do your self-tape in the car or wherever you are, but like the look and the skill, like your look and your skills, this should be priority number one, because those are the like, how do you say that in English? Like those are the two main things when you're an actor. Are you really a good actor in the sense of skills, and do you look
The part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've taken I've done self-tapes on set with like people setting up lights in the background and whatever. I mean, I think it in a way, it was my only chance to do it because I was on set the whole day. So I either do it or I don't. And the other thing, I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but I grew up in Detroit, and that's across the river from Canada, where Wayne Gretzky was a god. And Wayne Gretzky always said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah. If you don't do it, the answer is no.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
I believe so too. And another thing that I would recommend young actors is to figure out how to read a script. How is the tonality of a scene or a commercial or whatever the production is giving you or the casting director is giving you in order to play the scene? And for that, I would recommend to keep as many storyboards or briefings or whatever you can get. Talk to directors, and then maybe you received a storyboard or treatment or whatsoever, but you weren't cast for it. So they didn't cast you. But then you will see how the spot will turn out at the end, or the movie, the scene, whatsoever. And this is, I think, how you train yourself to get a better understanding of the tonality. Like, what is the director really looking for? Because this is a part of what you can control as well. Sorry, I was a bit sick last week, so that's why I'm.
No problem. Yeah. Oh my God, Karoline, your English is amazing. Don't worry about it.
I have my moments. Thank you. Yeah. So this is what I would recommend.
Yeah. Yeah. I always find it super helpful when the casting director includes a link to someone's past work or something as well, so you can sort of see like their style, especially if it's obviously for the campaign that you are trying out for.
Yeah, but you know why I'm hesitant with that? Because then some contact the director.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a drag.
That's like, hey, you can do that for sure. And then I encourage every actor to do that. If you've worked with the director, keep in contact. But out of the blue, if you're in the process of like casting, it will not help. Because the director has a reason why he puts in or asks the casting director to handle that.
Yeah. It's a buffer, right? I mean, also another set of eyes, professional eyes, that's your job to find people that are right for it. And then it's his job or her job to decide.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
But every now and then we do that. Yeah. And it's not that all, like, it happens every now and then. And then we're like, oh, okay. But it's okay. People are trying to connect with others, so I totally understand why they're doing this.
Yeah. Well, that's nice of you to understand. I think I know other casting directors who might not be so understanding.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But as a human being, I understand why someone does it.
Yeah.
Does it has a good outcome? Not that I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, Karoline, we're coming up on almost an hour. This has been amazing. Yeah. Do you have anything that, you feel like you want to say that you haven't said or?
No, just, if this is, I had a thought the other day. I was thinking about something, if I want to do something. And then I asked myself, would I do it if I would know that it will be successful? And then I was like, wow, that's a good question to myself. And then, I meditated over it. And then I thought, okay, I will give myself a certain time frame. Well, I'll try it and I'll do it. And I'll put like everything that I have into this project. And if it will work, I don't know. It might be good. Like it might work or it might not work, but my joy is not dependent on it. So maybe to have this approach, this I would share. Because as a casting director, I am sharing probably the same feelings as any other person as well, including actors. We have the same things to overcome, just on a different, like, say, stage. But for me, it's the same. Okay, do I want to do something? Okay. Yep. Let's go all in. Then give myself a time frame in order to, like, say, okay, if it hasn't worked out until then, that's cool for me. If it has worked out, yay. Okay. So, and for that time frame, it is like an experiment for me. And then I can be joyful and playful and just focus
Do you
on.
mean being an actor? Like if somebody should say, I'll give myself 10 years and then if it doesn't work, then I'll go do something else. Or what do you mean?
With their own projects, for example.
Okay.
It's not only the question if someone should be an actor. This could be one of the questions. It could be as well, do I like participate in a project, or will I start to do my own movie or whatsoever? So I just wanted to give you an example how I tackle those things that probably an actor has to deal with too.
Yeah. So knowing what's going to take a lot of energy and how much energy you're willing to expend on it before you say it's taking more than it's giving. Because you don't want to reach that point where it's
frustrating you.
Taking more out of you than it's giving you. Yeah.
Exactly. And frustrating you on a long term. And just be joyful in what you do.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it in the moment. You cannot control the outcome. Yeah, that's my recommendation. And of course, as I said, know the market.
Yeah. Which gets tricky because the market is getting smaller and bigger at the same time. Because as you say, you're able to cast people in America, in the Eastern Bloc, in Western Europe. So in all these, and these are all different markets, and yet, right? So you can't. But I think you should definitely know the market that you're primarily working in. But it's hard to know,
but it's
everything.
The same for us.
Yeah, for sure.
This is something that I remind actors as well all the time. It's the same for us. We need to navigate ourselves as well, or our companies as well, in markets that are expanding on the one hand and getting smaller on the other hand.
Yeah.
But it's the constant change.
Yeah.
And I can lean into this process, or I can say, this is overwhelming. I don't want to deal with it, which is fair enough as well. I think it's always the matter of like how happy you are in like when you do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we started out this conversation talking about joy, and now we're ending the conversation talking about joy. And those are very nice bookends for this interview. Karolina, how would you like people to get in touch with you, if at all? You don't have to have people get in touch with you, but if you would like to, should they go to your website or your social media?
The only way we read emails is actors@mathiescasting.com. That's the only address. And there I sit down and go through all the emails and look at all the material that people send me. If people want to have a look at what we do, they can go on www.mathiescasting.com. And again, if they want to send us something, just drop us a mail, actors@mathiescasting.com.
I'll put a link in the show notes so people can find it. Yeah,
and then
of course.
you find us on Instagram and stuff. You can follow us there because every now and then we put like auditions online. So if someone wants to, like, not every project, of course, we don't put every project online. But some we do, and then you can just apply for those.
Perfect. Thank you again so much.
You're welcome. It was lovely talking to you. I wish you a lovely weekend. And
thank you. Same to you.
Let's keep in touch.
Absolutely.